Hello. Oh, you've had a haircut.
I have had a haircut. It's true.
That's quite a haircut.
It's it's been interesting hearing people respond.
Well, I didn't want to say it's about bloody time because you no longer look like you're trying to recapture your lost New Romantics youth, but I like it. I think it's lovely. You look like Sigourney Weaver in Alien 3.
I look. I thought you were going to say I look more like you now.
Nobody could have a look like me. Too beautiful.
Yes, I almost made it. I mean, you know, hairdressers open up on Monday. Actually, it was quite funny because I'd said to my nephew, "Oh, I'm just so tired of it." You know, I went and met my niece last weekend for a walk because we can do that now. And at the end of the walk, she pulled out the hair clippers that Finn had given to her to give to me. Rather subtle.
Excellent. It looks really nice. I really like it.
You probably don't know me. You probably don't know me wearing hair like this so much.
No, not so much. You're usually floppy. Floppy hair. This is a podcast in which two friends have serious conversations about silly things and silly conversations about serious things.
I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller.
Welcome to Midlifing.
Would you like to hear a potentially apocryphal story about Portuguese cuisine?
I would love to.
You were just talking about having a surplus of egg yolks as a result of making pasta.
That's pasta, just in case there's any Italian listeners out there.
I'm just going to let that sit because I feel that you were trying to northern vowel shame me.
Yes, the podcast of vowel shaming.
But apocryphally,
yes.
I don't know how true this is, but apocryphally.
I guess that's the nature of apocryphal stories, right? I'm not sure how true this apocryphal story is.
So, according to legend, I just tried to find lots of different ways to clarify that I don't trust the provenance of the story, but I do like it. So Portugal's a Catholic country, as you know, and maybe you don't know, but it's a Catholic country, much like
did know that.
Italy. Okay. So there were lots of monasteries and convents, and there still are. There's a convent just down the road from us. In time immemorial, I don't know when, the legend has it that wimples, that's the right word, isn't it? Wimples. The bits of a nun's uniform, the white bit that goes on their head. The habit is what they wore.
I was born and raised a Catholic, and I don't think I've ever... No, well, I wasn't born one. I mean, I was baptised pretty soon after I was born. In fact, I was baptised, Monsignor Moore rushed over because I had to have 3 blood transfusions. I was born jaundice.
Oh, so were you
I was baptised in a rush.
Touch-and-go baby? Oh, because they weren't sure that you were
going
to make it. Holy cow, I didn't know that.
Which would have made this podcast would have been only half as good without
or twice as good. Discuss.
Singularly better.
I am so glad that you didn't die in infancy.
But yes, so I was not born, but soon after born, became baptised a Catholic, and I have never heard that word.
Wimple. I think that's the word.
Oh, it's looking like it.
Are you duck going or
I
kosering?
It's a medieval form of female headdress formed of a large piece of cloth worn around the neck and chin and covering the top of the head. It's used to develop in early medieval Europe.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, so good. So
show
a
notes.
nun's
Check
wimple.
the show notes. Yep.
The white bit of their uniform. Ooh, costume. Ooh, dress. Ooh, I don't know. What do we call it? Is it uniform? Doesn't sound right, but costume sounds wrong.
Costume's not right, is it?
Clothing.
Robes.
Yeah.
Clothing's good. Outfit.
They're out. They're on song. So, the white bit that goes on their head. They used to be starched, and they were starched using egg whites because they dry hard, as you know. In fact, I seem to remember my mum saying that egg whites were used in certain hairstyles when she was a young girl.
Oh, that sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, to get things to stay in place. And my dad said that he just used Vaseline for his hair. which is a joy. Oh, speaking of my dad, I was talking to him just this morning. His nephew, who is a year younger than him, has just gone in for a triple bypass. So he was telling me that, and then segued with no beat to, and then another chicken was delivered to my house.
Was it beefy?
It was. Oh, it was bigger than that. Once he dressed it, which obviously is, as we've had the conversation before, is undressing it, it was £7.
What's that in metric?
About 3 kilos.
Oh, it is too.
Mm.
That is a
big old bird.
It's a big chicken.
So this chicken was delivered, as always, in a bag.
Alive.
Oh, of course. I asked my mum if she had any intention of just like keeping them in the back garden as pets, and she thought about it for a little while, and then she decided that the shit would be just too much to deal with. Anyway.
So egg whites, starch.
Egg whites,
By the way,
starch.
I've just Naturally Curly, the website naturallycurly.com.
Mm-hmm.
Why people are using egg whites as a natural curl definer.
Ah-ha-ha!
If you do a little DuckDuckGo search for egg whites, indeed yolks and hair, it seems like it's a cure-all for everything.
Everybody's on it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Sorry. So back to drying hard.
Egg white. Egg whites, nuns' wimples, which meant that convents had a surplus of egg yolks. And as a result of having a surplus of egg yolks, they started to develop a range of pastries that utilise the egg yolk in abundance, which is why there is the pastel de nata in Portugal, because this particular, it was a monastery actually, the Hieronymus monastery. Yeah, exactly, was used to make custards. And when they closed down the conventy bit, or when the nuns moved out, they sold the recipe to a pastry maker who was just next door, and they're still made there to this very day.
I was actually thinking that I would like to open a gelateria, an ice cream shop. And because I'm going to be producing an enormous, well, in fact, really it would be an ice cream shop, an enormous number of egg whites, that you should open the shop next door and
sell meringues.
And cakes, make cakes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that I could just organise nuns' wimples for them.
Or you could be a nun wimple shop.
I could be a nun wimple shop. So when you say a gelateria...
That was great.
Thanks. I got halfway through it.
Yeah, I know.
And
got nervous.
I'm not sure. And then I finished it off with a Portuguese flourish. Gelateria.
Oh, you did too, didn't? That's very...
Muito bem. I've been practicing my Portuguese. We started this talking about egg whites, and you were going to make chocolate cookies today.
We did a bit.
Biscuits.
But I'm a little bit tired. I'm knackered, and I want to tell you why I'm knackered.
I want to hear why.
Because last night I learned that our next door neighbours, the people who live...
those ones across the hallway?
No, who live beneath us.
Cannot
sing a single note in tune.
Oh no!
To multiple efforts at Bryan Adams's The Summer of '69. And do you know how many versions of Every Breath You Take by fucking Sting there are? It's incredible how many versions there are of that song, because I heard every single one of them last night.
Wow.
But the height of it, I think, was that song by Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Do you know the song?
In the shallows, the shallow hose. In the shallow la 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 hose. In the shallow la 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 lows. I believe they're caught in the shallows now.
I was actually watching a film with headphones on because this was getting late, way past,
way past bedtime.
Way past my bedtime.
So like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Well, yes, this was so at one point, Lil came in, just was smiling, and we tried to record. Shall I try and play it for you?
Oh, yes, please. That would be a total joy.
It might not be very loud, but we'll just give it a go. Oh, I don't think I can play it whilst you and I are on this.
Do you know what?
Mm-hmm.
What we will do is send me the file, and we will drop it in at this point, and then we can enjoy it together.
I have a lot of respect for Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I really
Tell
do.
me something, girl.
Oh, nice. And Bradley Cooper's hot.
He's very handsome. He's not totally my cup of tea,
No.
but I think he's a very handsome man. If I was going to be with a gentleman, it wouldn't be Bradley Cooper.
Well, who would it be, though?
Oh.
And also, just so Lady Gaga doesn't feel left out of this particular podcast, she is amazing. I have a lot of time for Lady Gaga. But
Also, very gifted, very beautiful. Similarly, not my cup of tea.
no,
I'm
I think
sure both
I think
of them will be
Bradley is more
heartbreak.
my cup of tea than Lady Gaga.
Oh, I think I probably find Lady Gaga a scooch more attractive.
Yeah, she's slightly more unusually attractive than Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper's a little bit hunky American, isn't he?
I think Bradley Cooper's features are a little too fine for me. They're a little too well drawn.
You
So
like fatter features.
Not necessarily fatter, just a little less well drawn. Like Brad Pitt does nothing for me.
No,
Too well drawn.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody's taken a pencil and just
He's sculpted.
Yeah. So I would always err towards an early 90s Keanu Reeves.
Oh, nice.
That kind of a look. That's much more
a little bit rougher around the
bit-
edges.
Yeah, a little bit like, those features shouldn't go together, but they do. Although I don't think you can say that about Keanu Reeves because he is ferociously pretty.
He is. He's got a lot of motorcycles too.
Yes, he fell off one, didn't he? He got quite a bad injury.
I think he
once.
did, yeah. But I have a lot of respect for Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, not least because they can sing that damn song.
Did you discover how hard it was by listening to
I heard it
Neighbours?
3 times last night. 3 motherfucking times. But it was kind of also funny because clearly they're having a party which you're not supposed to be having. And what were they doing? What were they doing?
They were aspirating. They were aspirating as much as they could. Oh, wow.
Anyway, 2 a.m. I actually finally fell asleep, but little hadn't.
Were you not tempted to inform the thought police?
This is what I was going to ask you. Because it did occur to me at one point to go downstairs and knock on the door.
Yes.
And go pretty much say the same thing. I love Bradley. I love Lady Gaga. But could you just leave them to it? Please, please. I don't know. And I just think, it doesn't happen very often. They're having a lot of fun. They're clearly having a blast. I mean, I'm not sure that Madonna's Like a Prayer needed that. And nor did Bon Jovi, halfway there, living on a prayer. It was like being stuck in my teenage years.
Yeah. I believe we call these deep cuts. They are. Wow.
Yeah. But would you have done something?
Oh, you see, that's a very interesting question.
Does it relate to today's topic?
Not in the slightest. I would have. It depends which me you're asking. Because
Wait. Have I been podcasting with several of you?
You know, as Deleuze and Guattari say, since each of us are several, where we get together, it's quite a crowd. Yeah, of
Were
course.
they their words precisely?
No, I'm paraphrasing, but it's
I
not
love that
far from the
paraphrase.
quote. I think that it depends where I am, both in terms of my life, but also where I am in terms of the world. So I used to live next door to a house full of students.
Oh, I think you've mentioned this.
Yeah, and I delivered a pair of headphones to the guy who had a room directly next to me because that was just too much. And he was listening to really bad Europop, so it didn't have enough of a bass for it to really kind of kick in and you could feel it in your body. So it was just kind of like annoying and irritating. That kind of like tinny kind of bad dance tracks. EDM, I think it's called, isn't it? Electronic dance music. And there's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. I think
Is it a little bit?
It is, but there are some really great. I've been listening almost exclusively through lockdown to a Portuguese
I thought you were
DJ.
going to say through the walls.
No, that's the best way to listen to all music. No, through the lockdown. So for the last year, I've been listening to this Portuguese DJ called Branco. On heavy repeat. Branco
in the show notes.
And his work is just gorgeous. And that has a bit of a feeling to it, but it's really good. And he collaborates with just such a huge range of artists. So there's a big Afrobeat scene in Lisbon. He's based in Lisbon, and so he there's quite some really nice African influences in his work. He works with fado singers. He did a version of his song 2020 or 2020 for last year with Anamura. And Anamura is
she the one that you sent me a link to?
I think I sent you a link to Maritza.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and she's good. She is really good. But Anamura there's a different quality to her voice.
And what kind of singers are they called again? Remind me.
They're called, they are fadistas, is the type of singer
Fadistas.
they are. Fadista. And they sing fado. Fado means fate.
Okay.
It's a Portuguese form of, I guess, torch singing in a way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very, very...
Yeah.
Emotive. Exactly. I guess there's something there about a bit... that one, Edith Piaf. There's a quality of that, but something...
That was stunningly... It reminded me of that, because if you hadn't said Edith Piaf, I wouldn't have recognised it. But as soon as you said it, I thought, wow, that was a stunning... it's like that... have you heard about that thing where people... if I tapped out happy birthday to you, if I did it like this...
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You recognise it as happy birthday to you. But we have
Absolutely.
we have this idea that if I hadn't said happy birthday, you hear it as a bunch of taps, right? But we have this idea in our heads, there's very, very famous experiments that what we're tapping out is really, really clear, that everyone totally gets it, but it's just not the case at all.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'm going to tap a song for you. You ready?
Okay.
That's so clear to me.
No, not a clue.
Okay, you ready?
Are you going to sing in the shallows? Because if you are, it's going to...
I am. I just thought...
It's not living on a prayer.
It was too beautiful to... Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this morning?
You know the words.
Oh, do you need more? Is there something that you're waiting for?
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm falling.
It's a beautiful song.
Oh, I hate it.
Do you? I love it.
Oh, it drives me potty.
I love
because
it.
it's... What are we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, Branco, EDM,
Yeah.
Through the Walls.
Edith Piaf.
I think... So I absolutely went next door and knocked on the door and said, cool it. But when we're in Lisbon, we're in a block of 8 flats. And actually, they've just moved out. But on the first floor, there's a group of... we call them a group of kids. They're clearly well into their 20s. They're not a group of kids. And they're super awesome. But they wake up quite late and they stay up until quite early.
Yeah.
And they can be quite noisy.
Yeah.
And similarly, the woman who lives directly below us can also, at the weekend, really,
rack it up.
Yeah. I find it impossible to be frustrated or irritated by it.
Your whole state of mind is just totally different in Portugal, right?
Absolutely, totally different. I remember.
Also, you wouldn't know what the cultural.
I know that the cultural
Norms.
approach is that you can totally bang on a door and go, "Shut your fucking noise." My favourite is the 2:00 in the morning people beeping the horns outside of the window, and then all of a sudden you'll hear like 6 or 7 people screaming, "Shut your fucking noise!
Yeah.
It's bedtime!"
Yeah.
Really full throated, and it's just gorgeous. I don't know. I really like the the clarity of the correction. So what stopped you knocking?
Well, you know what? I was watching a Daniel Day-Lewis film. Tricky. Not a big fan of Daniel Day-Lewis. I liked his earlier, less snotty performances, but this was In the Name of the Father. Great film.
Pete Postlethwaite's in it.
Yes.
He's dead.
Oh, he is dead. But actually, it's funny you say that because I went the Curious route meaning I just think there's something here that's really, I don't want to stop or don't want to try and stop. And it wasn't out of generosity. It was just because I thought, they're having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also there's something really pleasurable about, and painful, about listening to this singing. I mean, it was really, it was atrocious. There was not, and I'm not a great singer, as you know, that incredible sensation of people missing notes by some distance, like a long way. It was only because the original song was playing in the background that I could recognize it. It was extraordinarily bad. I swallowed a bit of your curiosity gold and went, I'm just going to stay curious here.
That's quite beautiful, because I think in those moments...
But every breath you take...
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard song to listen to at the best of times.
A little bit stalky.
Through the Floorboards, badly sung.
Many versions of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't love that. I do like that you found the capacity for curiosity in that moment, because I think so often here in the UK, where I think I am just by nature less generous.
Oh.
And I think I've talked to Bob about this.
That's so interesting.
Why am I less generous when I'm here in the UK than when I'm in Portugal? And I think it's something to do with my sense of the country that I am from having changed in a way that I sometimes don't recognise.
Oh.
And there can be, not always, but there can be a meanness that is connected to this sort of sense of my rights versus our collective responsibilities. Again, things that we've talked about in the past. And I can sometimes really feel the sense of community leaching away. You know, I'm culpable here because I don't contribute to things. I don't go to the local church. I don't throw myself into the community in that way. So I think that there is something about the laziness about being in a place that you are kind of cooked in versus the work that you have to do where you're in a place that you don't fully understand the social mores. And so I find myself being less generous here than I am in Portugal.
And also the language, getting the tone of the language just right.
Exactly.
And, just any time when you're speaking outside of, can I have another beer, thanks? There's always a risk. You're just going to get it really wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So you being able to find that kind of that curiosity and that sense of recognizing that this isn't something that was being done to you. It's just being done near you. And I think we can forget that quite a lot of the time, that this isn't being done to me. This is being done near me. And you can then go, well, there's a selfishness there that they're not being really aware of other people around them and all of those kinds of things, which I get. But also the idea of selfishness actually kind of goes both ways, doesn't it?
I so love that. I so love that. The Buddhist idea of the second arrow.
Yes.
And this is a really simple example where, the first arrow is a little bit like, it's people singing badly and drunkenly and noisily at an inappropriate time. But it's that second one that, how is it that I respond to this is, I'm not trying to make myself out because it was funny and also painful. It was all those things, right? It wasn't.
But I think you can certainly go, I was able to step into a space that didn't require me to be as ferociously douchey as I might have been.
Yeah, because girls just want to have fun. Time after time.
Oh my God, I love Time After Time. That is such a good song.
Come on, sing us a line.
No, because
if you're lost, if you fall, I'll catch you. Is that line?
Yeah. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting time after time. I'm really almost kind of lachrymose in my way of being in the world. And songs are the things that can trigger me sobbing like a toddler.
Lachrymose.
Lachrymose. Given to tears.
Is that a word in English?
Oh, I think so, because, I mean, obviously, it must have, I guess it's got Latin at roots.
Lacrime is tears.
Then, yes, in answer to your question, lachrymose is a word in English, and it is, it is
and
understood.
Songs are the things that do it.
Absolutely. Bob and I made a piece ages ago, which was just there was a section in it where each time there would be an envelope, a blank envelope that I would open up, and inside there would be the name of a song that I would have to sing. And I would always get about 3 or 4 lines into it and then just start to blubber because it would always be
the same
a
song.
No. It would just, Bob would always choose songs that she knew would make me cry because
This is a strange version of Pavlov's dogs here.
yeah, but yeah, I sob like a baby quite a lot listening to songs and singing songs.
I love that. I love that. I didn't know that about you, though.
Didn't you?
I didn't know that about
I thought everybody had seen me at least once, me just start to sing a song without really knowing that I was suddenly then going to go.
you. And what's the song that comes to mind?
There are two. There are too many. So, like, Time After Time, that will.
It is what definitely.
That's definitely. Yeah, no. Like, if I was to,
But just the Cyndi Lauper version, or
yeah, just the Cyndi Lauper version, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It doesn't. These are not songs that have any resonance with things that happened in life. This is just the pure musicality of the song. It's the song itself.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was reminded of that. There's an artwork by an artist. An artwork, the name of which I can't remember, by an artist, the name of whom I can't remember. Anyway, it's a series of screens, like it's just a collection of screens. You go into a room, and it's people singing into a microphone to a Madonna song, which I think is Like a Prayer, which was one of the ones I heard last night, but maybe that's just on my mind. And there's no music playing, but you just see them singing it.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And they dance during the bit when there's no singing, and it's
the
just
mid-late.
Thank you. And it's just this kind of sort of cacophony and beautiful and moving. And some people have dressed up and other people haven't. And it's such I will dig it out and find a version of it online to put in the show notes. I mean, I don't want to make this about this last night at all, because it's become that. They were playing some kind of playlist which was a little bit like get under your neighbour's skin in the middle of the night.
For the second week running, there was supposed to be a topic and and something that made its way into your house has derailed us. So last week we were derailed by a young man masturbating with the curtains open, and the potential ramifications of what that might mean. For the second week, we've had an unwelcome visitor, and something that you were drawn to, but this being a much less problematic being drawn to.
Yeah, it just didn't leave me the same kind of uncertainty about my behaviour.
You're still caught in the idea of voyeurism. In both instances.
Yes,
I mean,
I recorded them. I recorded them last night.
Yeah. And you can't, you can get away from one, but were unable to. And you can't get away from the other because it's so...
Sonic.
All encompassing.
Yeah, and so we really should be renaming the podcast Simon's Neighbours.
Hey. Simon's Neighbours have many a story to tell, it feels.
But I'm a little bit. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry, but it's funny, isn't it, to come to an episode with an idea of what to talk about and then to not get there.
There is something quite nice though about the being suspended in the before.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love that.
Because we know that we've got this sense that we're moving towards a point where we go, okay, so I was thinking that blah, blah, blah.
But we never quite.
No, because we just get too caught on the conversation, which I've really enjoyed, Simon. Read out a text message.
So this is a text message. This is a text message from a long-time listener, Corbetron, David Corbett. It turns out that David Corbett might start to be acting as some kind of, what's the word I would use? A checking system for our podcast.
Like a fact checker?
No. More like a...
Temperature taker?
Yeah, something like that.
Is he like a sugar thermometer?
Yeah, perfect. Let's call him our... I thought you were going to say sugar daddy. Different. He's our... Corbetron is our sugar thermometer. Anyway, one text. He sent it just after midnight on Monday. This is the text. I'm just going to read the whole text. Episode 20, Dunning-Kruger. Episode 21, quote, a vibing of the senses, and then the most popular emoji in the world. Can you guess what it is?
Is it the crying, laughing man?
Exactly. So episode 20 was the one where we talked about, what was it, skill and competency.
Yes.
And he says, his text, Dunning-Kruger. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is?
No, I don't.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is a bias. It's a cognitive bias stating that people with low ability overestimate their ability.
And he's never even eaten your bread. How dare he?
I think he might have been talking about how good we are. We think we are at podcasting. That was my assumption. Correct me if I'm wrong, Corbetron, you smelly fart. And
He's got a lovely dog there.
episode 21, Finding Pleasure. And he said, quote, a vibing of the senses. And I said, did Lee say that or me? And he goes, you! And I'm just going to, I don't know what he means, except to say, what a load of shit you were talking. That's my guess. Vibing of the senses? Basically, I think he was saying, get a grip, boy.